We tend to view modern history as a continuous climb, assuming that as long as our science and technology keep advancing, our survival and growth are guaranteed. But we are discovering a core paradox in that expansion. The very systems we built to secure our future are now destabilizing the ecological foundations we need to stay alive. The Earth underneath our mechanical sprawl is quite literally cracking. This destabilization shows up in our cities as extreme heat waves. These aren't just uncomfortable afternoons. They are pushing urban temperatures toward levels that threaten the basic habitability of the places where we live and work. In rural areas, the damage is even more visible. Changing monsoon patterns and the depletion of groundwater have turned once reliable resources into a daily struggle, forcing entire communities to rely on single depleted wells. By trading the environment as an infinite resource to be used for progress, we have brought a survival crisis directly to our doorstep. We are beginning to see the Earth not as an endless supply, but as a failing, finite system. This collapse is driven by a simple physical reality. We are consuming resources faster than the planet can regenerate them. We have built our global lifestyle on the illusion of infinite supply. Mahatma Gandhi identified the solution to this decades ago. He argued that the Earth provides enough to satisfy every person's need, but not enough for every person's greed. Modern industrialization prioritized that greed, accelerating the degradation of our ecosystems for short-term economic gains. We chose rapid extraction over long-term stability. We cannot solve an environmental crisis with technology alone if the crisis itself is rooted in our values. Physical solutions will only work if we first correct the philosophical failure of prioritizing overconsumption over necessity. To understand this damage, we must look at the chemistry of our air. When we release primary pollutants like sulfur dioxide and nitric dioxide, they react with water in the atmosphere to form nitric and sulfuric acids, which eventually fall back to Earth as acid rain. Then there is the biological threat of PM 2.5. These are microscopic particles less than 2.5 micrometers in diameter. Their size allows them to bypass our natural respiratory defenses and travel deep into lung tissue, directly causing inflammation and premature death. In major cities, the concentration of these particles becomes visible as a thick, toxic smog, seen here entirely obscuring the India Gate. On a global scale, greenhouse gases act as a barrier in our atmosphere, trapping infrared heat from the Earth's surface. This trapped heat caused a 0.6 degrees Celsius increase in global temperatures over the past century, a spike accelerating rapidly today. Our industrial byproducts are now systematically dismantling both our individual respiratory health and the thermal regulation of the entire planet. This reality was recognized in 1972, when the UN held its first major conference on the human environment in Stockholm, creating World Environment Day. Governments responded with a wave of legislation. In India, we saw the Water Act of 1974 and the Environment Protection Act of 1986, designed to safeguard air and water quality. Yet, despite these laws, our rivers and oceans continue to be overwhelmed by industrial waste and organic pollutants. Top-down regulation has struggled to keep pace with the scale of our consumption. This institutional struggle has been met by a constant grassroots demand for change, like this protest from the 1970s calling for immediate ecological help. History suggests that legislation and global conferences alone cannot reverse environmental collapse if the underlying global system of overconsumption remains the same. Reversing these trends requires us to stop waiting for global institutions and start implementing immediate changes at the individual level. We need a fundamental shift in how we live. The official theme for World Environment Day 2026 is Inspired by Nature, for Climate, for Our Future. This points us toward nature-based solutions. It means moving away from a linear system that simply consumes and discards, and instead integrating natural ecological functions directly into our infrastructure and our habits. Effective environmentalism moves beyond annual symbolic events. It requires a constant daily effort to restructure how we interact with the Earth's natural systems. That effort begins with immediate behavioral changes, the total elimination of single-use plastics, and the rigorous segregation of our household waste. It continues through better resource management, conserving water, fixing every leak, and choosing sustainable transportation like carpooling or public transit. When these individual actions are scaled across entire populations, they create a significant reduction in the total ecological load on the planet, making them a vital part of countering climate change. We have to accept the reality that we do not own this Earth. We are simply borrowing it from our children. Our daily environmental choices are the literal foundation of their future survival.